Hello, everyone. On December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the sun is crossing over Antares, the heart of the celestial Scorpion. This is a very important star. In star lore, it's one of the most unique one, and I'm going to show you why. But let's take a look at the energy pattern first, because a number of things are happening in this chart. This particular one is for November the 2nd, because I wanted the moon to cross over into Aries, because if you are going to use this energy pattern for some sort of magic or ritual, you may as well wait until either the moon is conjunct Jupiter at the end of Pisces, or when it crosses over into Aries, in order to have enough strength and energy for the ritual or for the magical process. There are a number of conjunctions which have been there for quite a while. There's still the Juno-Astrea conjunction, where it may help you to rearrange or reassess your meaningful committed relationships. And also, it may also give you the tool to actually break all embedded relationship karma. It has been there for quite a while, but now they are kind of separating. The conjunction is still there, so up to for another 2-3 weeks, you can utilize the energy. There's also still the Uranus North Node conjunction in Taurus. Let me show you that. For some reason, it's not coming up properly here. Sorry about that. And Uranus has been transiting Taurus for the last 3.5 years, which means it is effectively disrupting our harmony, our money-making abilities, our well-being, and also our love life, changing it in a nice way if you like change, or completely disrupting it if you don't. But also the North Node is going in this sign, which means that now it is your destiny, your chosen destiny, to somehow stabilize all this. And if you look around, you can see that yes, everything is getting disrupted because of the war, because of inflation, because the powers that be want us to get back into the Middle Ages, and they don't want us to be healthy and prosperous and secured. They want us to be disrupted completely. And that's what's happening in the world. But the people are waking up. So there's also this potential to revolt against all this. And you can see that revolt is picking up everywhere. For instance, in China, for instance, in England. And then you have the Pallas Athena Lilith conjunction. Two strong women are united in this conjunction in the sign of the moon in Cancer, but they look similar, but they are quite different as well. The similarity is that they are very independent and strong, but Lilith is an archetype of the creator goddess, and Pallas Athena is the daughter of Zeus, and she is there to help Zeus, to help the patriarchal society. So she is kind of an anti-feminine in many, many ways. But the fact remains that they are united and they represent feminine power in the true sense. And there's also still, or actually not still, but there is a Venus, Hygeia, Mercury triple conjunction, which is going to be there for a day or two, but then later on it's going to separate. It gives you the potential to understand what you need to put in order. Hygeia is the asteroid of sacred spaces, well-being, harmony, hygienes, personal hygienes, of course, cleanliness, orderliness. And with Mercury there, you can understand these needs. And with Venus there, you can actually strive to accomplish it. This Venus rules the Uranus North Node conjunction, and Mercury rules the retrograde Mars, which is actually opposite the whole conjunction. If we concentrate on the sun, which is actually aligned with Antares, or we can say conjunct, you will see what I mean. It has a number of important aspects. One is a square from, or two, Juno, Astrea. This is a mutable square. And it means that the sun is highlighting the conjunction, but also giving it a kick. So you can actually act more upon this karma breaking process. Chiron is making a trine. It's an applying trine. So for the next 2 days, it's going to be tighter. And it's highlighting our karmic wounds and also the potential to heal. And it's also quincunxing the Uranus North Node conjunction. This is also applying. So for the next couple of days, it will be getting stronger. And 3 planets are out of bounds. It's important for you to know that Asteroids and Centaurs are many, many times out of bounds, and we don't really watch those, but we do watch the personal planets. And now 3 personal planets are out of bounds. Mars is in the northern hemisphere, and Mercury and Venus are on the southern hemisphere. Out of bounds planets don't function on the normal, ordinary human level. They function on a universal level. And this is what you are able to understand at the moment. Mercury brings insights, flashes of inspiration, kind of like Uranus. The best for you to understand how these planets work, if you have one in your chart, is that they function like their higher octave. So Mercury's higher octave is Uranus, so you are getting flashes of inspiration. Mars's higher octave is Pluto, and it means that you are able to utilize your personal power for transformation. And Venus's higher octave is Neptune, so it represents some sort of universal love and understanding. So that's the positive manifestation. There are also negative manifestations, but let's not get into this at the moment because we have more important things to consider. For instance, the fact that the sun is on Antares, and as you can see, Antares is the heart of the celestial scorpion, and this is the seat of power and energy and understanding and magic. And here, this planetarium shows that actually Antares is quite to the south. It's south to the ecliptic. The position is about 27, 28 degrees from the celestial equator. So the sun can actually never be conjunct, actually really truly conjunct with it. It can only be aligned with it. But for instance, the moon can reach this position. As you can see that the ecliptic will cross one of the 0 point. This is 0 Capricorn. It's the point, of course, the solstice, the winter solstice at 23.5 degrees. That's the point. And the sun is actually getting there. That's why the days are getting colder and darker. And I hate it, but that's it. Okay. And why is Antares so relevant and so unique? Because there are actually 2 sets of 4 important stars, which are important from antiquity. So this is a very ancient lore. There are 4 pillars of the Milky Way. These are bright alpha stars representing, somehow holding up the Milky Way. The Milky Way is of course our galaxy, of course the Milky Way galaxy as seen from the Earth. In winter you see the outer edges of it, and in the summer you look into its heart, into its core. And let me show you where it actually flows. Here you have the celestial equator, you have the ecliptic, and the galactic equator is somewhere like this, goes like this. It's not shown here, but that is where the Milky Way is, and the galactic equator is the imaginative middle of it, because of course this is not a perfect sphere or anything. It's just it's funny because in most myths and legends, the Milky Way is either a tree or a river, a huge river. Or sometimes a way, because Milky Way, of course, is a road as well. Okay, so what are the 4 pillars of the Milky Way, which are seemingly holding up this flow of stars? Sirius, which is Canis Major, which is the brightest star in the night sky, Vega, which is Alpha Lyra, which used to be a pole star after the Vela Cataclysm 13,000 years ago, Capella, which is Alpha Auriga, and Antares, Alpha Scorpio, the heart of the celestial lion. And there are four stars of the four royal stars of Persia, which bring you success and luck and all sorts of nice things. But each four of them have a nemesis, which you need to somehow avoid. And these four stars are watchers of the four directions. Aldebaran is the watcher of the east, Regulus is the watcher of the west, Fomalhaut is the watcher of the south, and Antares is the watcher of the north. So Antares is both a watcher of a place, so to speak, and also a holder of the Milky Way. Don't mix up the four pillars of the Milky Way with the pillars of creation, which is a beautiful picture taken from somewhere from the middle of the galaxies. The pillars of creation is a picture, okay, that taken by probably Hubble Earth telescope. But these are stars; these are fixed stars that are holding up the Milky Way. Anyhow, if we go back to the Royal Stars of Persia, what you need to avoid in order to be successful with Aldebaran, you need to avoid all kinds of cheating. So you need to keep your integrity. With Regulus, you need to avoid being resentful and you need to avoid retaliation of all sorts. And then you can become successful in whatever you rule or reign in your sovereignty. Fomalhaut is linked to dreams and transcendence, but you need to avoid being too dreamy and outspaced or spaced out. And with Antares, you need to avoid black magic. And that's funny because, of course, the space-time energy is perfect for magic, but you need to avoid black. And black is really your intention. And unfortunately, black magic is always more easily attainable, simply because when you are very angry or when you have a lot of negative emotions, it gives you a drive. It gives you a lot more power than when you just simply want to do white magic, which is doing good. We have a Thors Hammer. We have another Thors Hammer, which I'm going to show you. But here's a Thors Hammer with the Sun and Juno, Astrea. And at its apex, you find Lilith and Pallas Athena. And you also have a tiny angel wing. That's the tiniest of the configurations with Chiron on its apex. But as you can see, the rest of the configurations don't really join. You do have a quintile instead of a sextile here. You have a bisextile instead of sextile. There's no such thing. Sorry. So it's not really closing actually properly. So we need to deal with or interpret the configuration separately. The transcendental celestial objects are here. On the Sun, you only have Antares. On Chiron, you have Tisiphone, the goddess of revenge. One of the Tisiphone is really revenging whatever you did wrong. So it gives you this type of drive by which you can actually retaliate. And Laila Kuhuna is the Hawaiian bird of beauty, and then Alderamin is the fixed star. Again, everything is color coded. Purple or magenta is for asteroids. Blue is for TNOs and centaurs, and red is for fixed stars. And Alderamin is Alpha Cepheus, one of the main protagonists of the myth of Cepheus, Andromeda, Cassiopeia, Perseus. I spoke about this many times, as this is the king, royalty, royalty which is not very effective because he is at the mercy of his women, really. Albion is important. It's on the North Node. Albion is a creation story. It's the main protagonist of the creation story of William Blake. It's a figure of some sort of figure of like Adam Kadmon, and Albion is cut into 4 pieces, and he creates by this the aspects of 4 aspects of humanity. And Albion in karmic astrology denotes a new era, which is achieved by a 4-fold or some sort of precise dissection by which a new era is created. And I can't have thinking of the fact that the Ukraine is going to be dissected simply because it has so many different I'm not going to use the word that I wanted to use. Ukraine has many Russians, Hungarians, Tatars, and other nationalities. And of course, they are trying to create a new nation and a functioning nation, but unfortunately, it is not going to happen. It's going to be a long process. It's going to take probably 10, 15 years. Look at Yugoslavia, what happened there. Look at Iraq, what happened there. These are processes that take a long time, but eventually the dissection will occur. This is what I think, because it's inevitable, because it's on the North Node. And on the Pallas Athena, Lilith, Black Moon Lilith conjunction, you have Rhea. Sorry, I should have put this here, Black Moon. I didn't, I do these videos in Hungarian as well, and sometimes I just forget to change the words in English. Sorry about that. Anyhow, Rhea is of course, one of the, it's not that she's a goddess, but not a creator goddess. It's, you have the creator goddess, who created the world, and then you have certain creator goddesses of air and gods of eras, and of course Rhea is the wife of Kronos, so she's the creator of one era that comes after Uranus. Diomedes is a Thracian king. He is important because he has a very strong, very cruel story. So here comes cruelty into the picture, enters cruelty into the picture. You also have Procyon, which is Alpha Canis Minor, and it's a bright, brilliant star. It's 0.2 of magnitude. The problem with Procyon is that there's an even brighter star in its vicinity, Sirius, and so it is kind of overshadowed. And it is a star that denotes the potential to be very bright and very prominent, but also the lesson to learn with Procyon is that you may be overshadowed by someone even brighter. And then of course Nessus is on Juno, and Nessus is one of the psychopaths in myths. I told you about this many times, but it's also linked to magic, and it's linked to black magic, interestingly. There's a funny configuration, which again is not closing. You do have a T-square and another Thors Hammer, and you also have a cardinal Earth engine, and these are kind of linked together. The cardinal Earth engine has Pluto, Ceres, and Aries. The Pluto-Aries square is still quite tight, but it is already separating. It's not going to be there next year because Aries is not going anywhere. It's going to stay around 24 to 25.5 degrees of Aries, whereas Pluto is moving into Aquarius for a short period, 0 Aquarius, and then it moves back into to Capricorn. But in 2024, it will actually cross over and stay in Aquarius for 20 years. Last time it occurred was at the French Revolution. I'm not very happy about this connotation, but what can we do? At the same time, it did bring a lot of positive energy as well. It will transform some sort of agendas and theories, for sure. Let's hope it is for the good and for the benefit of the world, and not this negative energy that we encounter every day, this woke idiocy that I call. And on the other side, you do have Ceres in this cardinal engine, and Ceres is the nurturing principle, our home, our nation, our family, which is being transformed by Pluto. And this Thors hammer has the sun at its apex, and again it's the same T-square. So this is a multiple configuration that has many joints. Here are the transcendental objects accompanying them. On a series, you have Osiris, the god of the underworld, of the Egyptian underworld, and Dionysus. And yes, you have a lot of deaths occurring at the moment, simply because in the Ukrainian war, the Russians are actually destroying facilities by which the people could make a living, actually, and a lot of people, a million persons are without energy and water, which is a terrible catastrophe. And what is, to me, a little bit funny in the big picture is that there was news that the Russian villages next to or near the Ukrainian border have a large consumption of alcohol. So obviously, it's one of the ways to ease tension, of course, is alcohol. Still, I mean, it has been there for ages and still there. On Pluto and Medusa, another strong woman who is being punished. At the same time, Amicus, the centaur who doesn't care for sacred objects and uses the candelabra for as a weapon, and Cerebellum, which is Omega Sagittarius, which is the last named star, and of course Omega is the last letter in the Greek alphabet, so this is the least brightest star in the named, among the named stars in Sagittarius, and it's still 4.8, so it's still visible, but we know that there are many bright stars in Sagittarius because that is the Milky Way region. And there's another non-closing configuration in the space-time moment. There are multiple, I mean, two mutable T-squares and another mutable, and another engine which is mutable air. And as you can see, it doesn't become a grand cross because the Neptune-Mars square is no longer there, because Mars is, both are retrograding, but Mars is faster, of course, than Neptune. Once Mars will turn around and go direct, it once again will make a Neptune-Mars Z-square. So this is just a tiny period when we don't have this, what I call the Quixotic or Don Quixote aspect. That's what Mars Neptune is. It represents the fight against something that I don't actually see or know, but it's a noble cause. That's the war. That's actually the war described. I mean, it's so interesting that poor Russians don't know what the mainstream media is capable of. Everyone who wants the war to stop is labeled as Russian propagandist. It's ridiculous. All we want is to stop the war. We don't really care who is the good guy or the bad guy. In war, there are no good guys and bad guys. There are fighters, and it's horrible. But the mainstream media made heroes out of the Ukrainians and villains out of the Russians. And it's not true, simply, but at the same time, so it's an information war as well. And the war, the people in the West don't understand that there are no good guys in this fight. And unfortunately, the people are suffering. And so you don't have the fixed square, but what is interesting is that Saturn is kind of dissolving the tense energies by putting making a trine, an air trine with Mars. Mars is retrograde and in Gemini, so talks are necessary, talks are needed. And of course, behind the scenes, we know that there are kind of peace talks already going on, or negotiations at least. That's what the Mercury Saturn's sextile and the Mercury-Mars trine is representing or signifying. And here as well, you have a couple of transcendental celestial objects. You have on Venus, you have Sekhmet, the lion goddess of Egypt, strength and energy and power. On Mercury, Hygeia, you have Ras al-Hagu, which is the alpha star of Ophiuchus, the celestial healer. So there's hope to heal and put things in order. There's a strong hope to heal. And actually, if you need someone or something to heal, you can actually utilize the Sun Antares conjunction, which is one of the strongest magical energies at the moment. You may actually utilize it in order to put things in order, to heal things. And Saturn is conjunct Atlantis. Atlantis, we wish to go back there, and we wish to utilize the knowledge and the peace and the orderliness that was there. Unfortunately, there's no way to go back there, but maybe, just maybe, with technologies that are still working from that age, or thoughts or ideas, may help us to overcome the difficulties at this era. On Neptune, you have Nemesis. Nemesis was the punisher of hubris, and hubris is revolt against the gods' wishes. And Neptune conjunct Nemesis shows that there is chance to actually revolt and put things in order, punish those who are doing stuff that are completely against nature and the natural things. On Mars, you have Altira. Altira is the a creator god of a New Zealand tribe, some sort of Aboriginal tribe, of course. And Altira creates the world, and then once it is finished, he goes and he leaves his creation, goes to the utmost edges of it, turns his back and never looks back. And it represents the idea that I'm turning my back on what I created, in the good sense and in the bad sense. And that is exactly happening in this war and in this horrible situation that the powers that be pushed us into, because they are turning their backs on us. That's exactly what's happening. And on Lilith, this is asteroid Lilith, you have Sisyphus and Thors, two strong energies. Sisyphus is hard work, which is futile. I hope it's not going to be futile to save our homes and our countries and our families. And Thors, which is a centaur that is hunting bears, but he doesn't kill them. They are taken into his cave, and he wants to pacify and domesticate them. So, and it's the domestication of bad instincts. That's what it signifies. So those are the energy patterns for the sun on Antares. And if you want to do some magic, it's the perfect moment for it. Take into consideration these energy patterns. These configurations and these aspects are anywhere there. And on the 2nd of December, as I said, the moon moves into Aries, and it gives you an extra push, an extra fiery energy, and your potential to exercise your own will from a whole holy soul or spiritual level. That's what it is. And I wish you good luck with it. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.